Right then, welcome back to another vid, a PlayStation special vid. I've got two PlayStation 1 games. There should be three, but I don't know where the other one is, which is just ludicrous how you can lose a PlayStation 1 game in one room. It's just unbelievable. Or maybe it's in another part of the house, although why, I don't know. So I'll just save that game, if I find it, when I find it, for a future PlayStation pickup vid. So yeah, two PlayStation 1 games, and hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 PlayStation 4 games, and an accessory. Now, I've picked these up, one very recently, I think it was Friday, I think it came out on Friday, Thursday, Friday, whenever it was. And the rest of them I've bought just over the last few weeks, or whenever. But I've just not, up until now, had the time to do a vid. So let's get the PlayStation 1 games out of the way. Like I said, there's two, there should be three. They're not amazing, but they're games I wanted, so what can you do? Now, the first one is brand new, it's still sealed, it's got like a sticker which I've started to peel off. So that's why it looks a bit of a mess, but it'll easily come off. And maybe you haven't heard of it, maybe you have. I certainly haven't. But just to quickly tell you what it is, well, let me just show you actually. It's called Tall Infinity. And there's the there's a spine in case you want to see that. Yeah, it's basically a puzzle game. You will not be able to tell off the back what it is. You're basically like building towers. I think the tower goes up and it keeps going up until you take blocks off. Something like that. You know, I've never played it, it's still sealed. But I saw a brief clip of it. And I thought that looks really interesting because I do like puzzle games. You know, it makes the brain think and it's good. It's healthy for you. So I thought, how much is it after seeing a vid? Looked on eBay and it was $5 sealed, including shipping. And there was even a best offer on that. But you know what? I thought, I can't be bothered. I'll just buy it. $5 is about £3. Happy to pay it. And the other one is one I'd never heard of before, but it looks like, well, it is. Well, it does have full motion video in it, like a lot of these PlayStation games had back in the day. But it's basically a point-and-click adventure game in similar vein to like a Broken Sword or a Monkey Island, Beneath the Steel Sky, or anything else for that matter. And it's called Dracula the Resurrection. Again, you won't be able to tell from the back, or maybe you will, I'm not sure. But yeah, point-and-click game, adventure game, makes you think, you get immersed into the storyline and all the rest of it, and really pleased to get it. So, PlayStation 4, let's start off with the accessory. This is a pretty pricey beast, if I'm honest, but I've wanted one for absolutely ages. And the other day, I was just feeling a little bit flush. I bought a couple of these games, spent too much money. But I thought, you know what, bugger it, let's get it. And then once I've got it, it's out of the way, and everyone's a winner. And it is the official PlayStation 4, but I think it works with the PS3 as well, headset, and the Vita, should you want to use it on the Vita. So, yeah, really good, really comfortable. The sound is fantastic. I mean, I'm not an expert when it comes to this kind of stuff. But, you know, all I want it for is, well, clearly, you know, to talk to friends, for one, maybe even you. If you've got a PlayStation, you'll have to let me know, unless you're already on my friends list, in which case, telling me again is kind of pointless. But yeah, so I want it for that. And also, just because sometimes maybe I want to play games late at night, and you don't want the TV blaring out, just stick some of these on. It's really good. So I'm really enjoying that, and they're really, really comfortable. And I've been playing one of the games, which I'll show you in a second, with the headset on, and the sound is just absolutely amazing. It's almost like, although not literally, it's almost like you're there. It's crazy. Now, before I show you the games, you'll probably see in the background that I've got kind of pointing technically there, but it should be there. There we are. Chess on the PlayStation 3, and you're probably thinking, Alex, just get a chessboard. Well, I've got one, but I don't want to set it up. I don't want to set it up. It'll take 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I don't want to wait 27 hours for someone to make a move. And then I don't have to put it away and all the rest of it. Just get it on the PS4, sorry. Much easier. I mean, it's like people who complain when others get Rock Band or Guitar Hero and they go, get a real guitar. Well, personally, I have a real guitar and I've been playing for about 25 bloody years, so not a problem there. But not everybody can afford a guitar. Not everybody wants to get it out, set it up, play it. Not everybody knows how to play it. So it's much easier just to get a plastic guitar and pretend you're playing. I think sometimes people, you know, they try and... It's almost like you're mocking someone, isn't it? Just let them have their fun. I mean, because where do you draw the line? If I wanted to play Burnout Revenge or Burnout Paradise, would you say, Alex, what are you doing playing Burnout? Just get in a real car and drive people, ram them off the road. Why would I want to do that? It's illegal. So just play Burnout. Problem solved. Why do you want to play a first-person shooter? Just get a gun. That's illegal too. Anyway, a bit of a tangent there. So speaking of first-person shooters, there's one which I've got, and you know what it is. You know what it is already. Think of a really popular game which I play a fair bit of, but nowhere near what I used to, and you'll know what it is. But let me quickly tell you about it. Call of Duty Ghosts. Oh, man alive, what am I doing? Yeah, it was a really, really good deal. It comes with all the DLC and all the rest of it. And I had to get it. Now, I don't mind it, to be fair. It would be really easy for me to come on and slag it off like everybody does. And, but I wouldn't be being fair to myself. I mean, I do enjoy it. In limited doses, admittedly, but I do kind of enjoy it. Yeah, it is the same old thing. We all know that. But if you play it every now and again and don't take it too seriously, it can be fun. And as I always maintain, Call of Duty has the best playability of a first-person shooter. It's fast, it's fluid, it's arcade style, and I love that. It's just that I don't play anywhere near as much as I used to, but it's still fun. Now, you may remember, going back a few months, I had, and still do have, the Xbox 360 hardened version, and I picked that up in a bundle of games. But I don't really play the 360 too much these days, just every now and again. So I'm not really going to be playing that anytime soon. Never say never with all the other CODs. I've got to, I guess, if I wanted to keep up the COD file vids, I'd have to go back and play some Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Call of Duty 2, and I might do that. Never say never, but for at this moment in time, I'm focusing very much on current gen. And when I say current gen, I mean PS4 in particular, but also Xbox One. Now, speaking of shooters, again, I think there's one more after this. Well, kind of one and a half. It'll make sense. The next one up is a game I did have for the Xbox One, but these days, apologies if I've already mentioned this in the vid, I can't remember, but I'm switching more and more at this moment in time to the PlayStation 4. Now, I can't really tell that much of a difference, I've got to be honest. You know, when people on YouTube, they'll put up like a graphics comparison, half the screen will be the PS4, the other half will be the Xbox One, and people in the comment section will be like, oh yeah, look at 1 minute 17 seconds, you can clearly tell. And I'll go to that, I'll click on that timestamp, and there's no difference at all. And I'm thinking, what the bloody hell are people seeing? I can't see a difference. Or very seldom, and not enough to dismiss the other system for. You know, it's very marginal, it's a very fine line kind of thing. But with that said, the PlayStation 4 is technically the better system, so the way I look at it is, why buy something, you know, the same game for what is technically an inferior system? So these days, going forward, at least for now, I'm prioritising the PlayStation 4 as my primary next-gen or current-gen system. And this is a game I had on the Xbox One. It's a game, let me show you straight away, actually. It's, I say straight away, I've been talking about it for 20 minutes there, Battlefield 4. It's a game which, when it first came out, had incredible lag. It was almost unplayable at times. Sometimes you'd be spawned into battle, and the animation of you holding your gun would be there, but your character wouldn't be holding a gun. It was just ridiculous. So many glitches, so many bugs. You'd get kicked out of lobbies. The game would crash. It was a nightmare. It was completely unacceptable how this could have been released. Completely unacceptable. But a friend of mine who's recently defected to the PlayStation 4, who I used to play with on the Xbox Live, or on Xbox One, Xbox Live, whatever, he picked this up again because he loved it, even though it had its faults. He picked it up on the PlayStation 4 and he said, you've got to get it because they pretty much, you know, within reason, fixed it. They put out a load of patches, and it's so much more playable than what it was. So I bought it. I've had just a few games, and I am really liking it. It's a definite improvement over the original release, which was just shocking, quite frankly. So I'm really enjoying Battlefield 4. Maybe do some gameplay in the future. We'll see. So that's that. Now the next one up is a game. In fact, there's a couple of these I did have on the Xbox One. I've sold them and I bought them on the PlayStation 4 because, like I say, I'm now treating my PlayStation 4 as my primary system. So it's Watch Dogs, a game which, I mean, do you remember the hype from, was it a couple of years ago, a year ago, whenever it was, and they showed it, I think, at one of the E3 festival. What's the word I'm looking for? Convention? Or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the E3 thing. Just at E3, how about that? And it looked absolutely amazing. But even at the time, I remember thinking, that doesn't look, well, it certainly didn't look like the 360 or the PS3. I thought it was probably on a PC, or possibly PlayStation 4, or Xbox One, as we now know it, which we didn't know what it was going to be called back then. I think we were all calling it Xbox 720, which was just absolutely ridiculous. But there we go. So yeah, I've only played it very, very briefly. It's decent, a cross between, I guess, Sleeping Dogs and maybe first and foremost, you'd think Grand Theft Auto. It's not as good as I thought, you know, watching the trailers going back over the past year or more. You know, you've got a certain amount of freedom, of course you do, but not as much as I think we were led to believe. But it's still good if you like that free roaming stuff, side quests and all the rest of it. And it's got a multiplayer, which I've not yet tried. Yeah, I'm glad I've got it. I'm looking forward to getting into it, but I don't think it's going to be too amazing, I've got to be honest. Next one up is Trials Fusion, a game. I had the original Trials HD, I think it was called, on the Xbox 360. In fact, I've still got it as a downloadable only game. And it was difficult, but I did like it. And I think there's another one or two have since come out. And of course, we've now got this one, which is on the new gen and the previous gen. Yeah, it's really good. There's a side again, although it's probably the same in PAL regions, or wherever you are for that matter. Really good, really, really addictive, but bloody hard. The harder, or the further you get, the more difficult it becomes. But yeah, I'm liking it. Now, two more. The first one up, I've not yet played this one, only recently picked it up. It was a really good deal. It was a price, I think it was about $32 or something reasonable like that. $32 being around about 24 quid, give or take. It's a game which I did consider paying full whack for. I'm bloody glad I didn't now, I can tell you that. Because it's basically halved in price. But I didn't because I guess I just had other games that I wanted and I knew it would come down in price eventually. And it's Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Again, there's a side in case you want to see that. So, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Now, I'm not a massive Tomb Raider fan. I did like the first one, even though I only ever briefly played in it on the PlayStation 1. But I've never really... In fact, have I played any of the others? Maybe I played a demo of Tomb Raider 2 on like a PlayStation official magazine CD front cover giveaway thing. A demo disc, I guess is the phrase I'm looking for. But yeah, no, I think Tomb Raider, the first one, was the only one I really got into. So I'm looking forward to trying this. It's one which, I think, didn't this come out on the 360 and the PS3? And I know, actually, yeah, a lot of people didn't like the fact that it was being essentially remastered again for the new gen. People were saying, well, what's the point bringing it out? Because it was out on the 360 and the PS3. Well, I'll tell you one reason. I didn't have it for the PS3 or the 360. So if I'm going to get it, I'd rather get it on the next gen, so it's going to be even better. It makes sense. Like, another one that's coming out, The Last of Us. I've not played The Last of Us. I know I'm probably one of the... I'm probably one of the last of... The Last of Us who has played The Last of Us, if you see what I mean. But I don't see the point buying it now on the PS3. What's the point? Because it's coming out on the PlayStation 4. So I might as well just get it on the PlayStation 4. So it makes sense. So that's that. And then last but not least, I did pay a little bit of a pretty penny for this. But I wanted this one. I didn't want the standard version, which was kind of, I guess, $45, $50. So I ended up paying an extra $15, $20 for this. Although I don't know why, because it comes with a load of extras, which I'm not going to use, obviously. I've just got it there for the sake of the collector's set. But it looks nice. I'm glad I've got it. And all the rest of it. It's a game which has only just come out, and it's called Sniper Elite 3. And this is the Hardened Edition? Sorry, Collector's Edition. And again, there's the side, and it's one of these slip covers which comes off. You've got your metal tin, which is nice. Hard tin there. Open the tin up and you get all your stuff. I don't think you really want to see it, but I'm going to show you anyway. It's probably going to fall out. Whoa, nearly. You've got a little bullet. Bloody hell. Dog tag in a little wrap in there. A map in the background. Some documents here in like a little booklet. And some sealed playing cards with pictures of, I think, people from the war. Churchill, Hitler, Roosevelt, whoever else for that matter. So now I've only played about 20 minutes of this. I had a quick couple of games online. I've played, I think, one mission of the single player. I think there's 3 difficulty modes. There's like the easy, the medium, the hard, or whatever they're called, but that's the equivalent. And I put it on medium, and like I say, played the first mission, and I did enjoy it, or I am enjoying it, but I've got to say, I hope it's going to improve in the sense that the AI is bloody terrible. Awful to the point of you can shoot someone who's standing right next to someone else and he hasn't necessarily seen it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And you think, that's pretty poor. It takes away the immersion. And the only other game which was that bad, for me, was Crysis 2. You know, I remember playing it on the 360. I completed it on the hardest difficulty setting, which I think was called Super Soldier. And it was just, it was a joke. It was really, really easy, because you could just pick enemies off from long distance or even at short range, and they wouldn't even know you're there. And it did take away some of the immersion, I've got to be honest. So that's all I've bought. There's those games there. Like I say, I've got the headset. I'm pleased to have this because it really makes all the difference. If you've got a PlayStation 4, let me know, and maybe we could do some online gaming and stuff. But, you know, with the time difference, it can be difficult, but we'll see what we can do. Where there's a will, there's a way, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's it. Obviously, I bought chess, like I say. I bought another couple of digital downloads, which are digital releases only. But I'll probably save those maybe for a vid, maybe for some kind of talking vid about digital games, because I know it's quite a contentious kind of issue for a lot of people. But for me, it isn't really. Bit of spoiler alert there. Digital games don't really bother me. Not much. There's a little bit, but I'll touch upon that another time. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be back shortly with another vid, as per usual. See you later.